Napier nails the press conference. Locked on Sunbelt.
You are Locked on Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz, Locked on Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. All right, thank you for following us along. Having some technical difficulties with the microphone. I don't understand it. Tried live stuff yesterday. Eventually went to the phone. The microphone seems to be working now. I don't understand why it's not working live. Didn't seem to work live. I tried calling Mama Schultz. Didn't work either. So we'll try to figure that out because I'd rather use the microphone if I'm doing something live rather than the phone, although the phone works. And the station has continued to grow. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network out there. And again, we're having a record month. All right. We are already pretty much matched our video output for all of November. Shorts are something different. And we're going to keep on going. We still have 2 coaches searches. We still have Coastal Carolina going on and Southern Miss going on. So there's a lot going on in college sports. And of course, we still have another 10 days or so before the college football game. All right, let's talk about the JMU Billy Napier press conference. I thought he nailed it. He's a much more, I'm not sure, cerebral, low-key guy is it. I think he's a pretty heady guy. I will say that. I think he's very cerebral. But he's very even-keeled. Okay, so he is not necessarily Mr. Personality in the press conference. But I think he nailed it. All right. It does appear that he's going to take advantage of being around Coach Chesney and his staff for the next 9 days or so. He did say a little logistical problem with them still here and him trying to put his staff and moving in, but that's really only going to be a couple of people. I mean, God forbid they beat Oregon and they're there for a couple more weeks. But at the same time, you know, Chesney's going to be cleaning up and moving out and whatever coaches are going with him. He did mention he was hoping for transparency with the players and the coaches, who's leaving, who wants to stay. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be on the staff, but seems he may be open to that. But more importantly, the players. All right. And that the portal is opening up the 2nd. So that's a thing, you know, who do you want to go with you? Who do you think is worth keeping? Who didn't play this year a lot we should keep an eye on? Who should we try to keep from going in the portal? And what positions do you think we need from the portal? All right, the signing day is in February, shortly after the portal. So you can get all of that. And he said, interestingly enough, I thought, you know, he's got his way of doing things, but there's the JMU way of doing things, whatever that may be. And we're going to start with the JMU way of doing things. Because what has been done for the last 4 years, at least, has worked, not to mention the last 2 decades. So it felt like he was like, I'm going to start with the JMU way, fill in the holes with my way, and we'll go from there. And eventually it'll be his way. But I just thought he nailed the press conference. A couple things came out of the press conference that I thought was interesting. He said, because of the situation he was in, which means he's got some money, right? He doesn't need a job. That's got 3 kids and a wife, could spend some time with them, but he's a football coach. He did say there's got to be a special place in heaven for football wives, which is for coaches' wives, which is no doubt. Okay. Even when they're there, they're not really there. And now college football is $365 a year. But he did mention he kind of had his choice because of his financial situation. Whereas before, you don't necessarily have your choice. I thought he may go and become a offensive coordinator. I don't know where the Nick Saban rehab center is these days. But that would be the kind of the place on Dabo Swinney. I don't know. Is Dabo looking for a new offensive coordinator? I thought he may do that. Tough to give up a chance to go coach at JMU. And as far as JMU is concerned, I think I said this in another episode, probably yesterday's. I'm not sure he's going to be there for a short period of time. As long as he keeps on winning, as long as and remember, the winning means contending in the East. Here's the thing with bringing in the new coach like Marshall did or Coastal had. Coastal fell off, and that's why Tim Beck's not there anymore, or App did. When you have basically won the East in 3 of the last 4 years, and they didn't win it in Bob's first year. But other than that, they've won it. So if there's a fall off when they say, well, you got to give him a chance to build a program. No, you don't. He needs to keep on contending is the problem. And remember, we went from Jordan McLeod to Alonzo Barnett III. So we went from a guy who lost the job to the Sun Belt Player of the Year, who eventually is now the Sun Belt Player of the Year. And so I like that part. I also like Matt Rowan, and I got to go back and watch. You can probably see it either on Facebook on JMU or on ESPN Plus. But somewhere along the way, Matt and Bob Chesney met, and they were being realistic. All right, maybe after, when was I was going to say Marshall ODU ball games. But he mentioned October is the only problem with that. Let's see here. So let's see here. So this is October 13th through the 19th. So that's the 19th, week 8. All right. So James Madison beat ODU. All right. So they're 6-1. So on that schedule, after that, you have Texas State and Marshall, App, Washington State, Coastal, and Troy. But it felt like, because they said October, it kind of felt like either Bob's agent had gotten news. We can kind of go back and figure that out, where James Franklin got fired and all those Penn State rumors started coming up. But Bob apparently approached Matt and said, my agent's getting some calls. Maybe we need to have a succession plan here. And that's what Matt did. He got a bunch of names together. He said at the time in October, he said that, not me, Billy wasn't available. Billy was still with Florida. So they did Zoom some people. Be fun to find out who those people they did Zoom with. That'd be interesting to find out who did not get it. Only because I'm nosy. That's it. And also, I think it came out, did Napier go up there on his own on Thursday? Now, I wasn't going to be there until Friday, but it certainly would have been funny walking into the bookstore and going, what are you doing here? Did I miss something? You getting holiday gifts, Christmas gifts? What are we doing? But he went up there just to check out the facilities, maybe watch a walkthrough. They obviously weren't practicing on Thursday before the game. But kind of cool that he kind of did that, I think, on his own. Right? But I think he nailed the press conference. We're going to, treat JMU tradition the way it should be treated. I wanted to see I don't know what the recruiting class was. Let me see if we can find what the recruiting class was. Oh, we got this here. They got a pretty good recruiting class. They are 4th in the Sun Belt right now, 20 commits, 19 of those 3-stars. So we'll see how many of those, if any of them go to UCLA, and how many stick around JMU, or I guess they technically, if they sign, they have to stick around JMU. Those are, at least this year, I guess. Although I'm one of those who believe if you want to go, let them out. I don't want you to be miserable here, just waiting for your chance to transfer next year. Just go. I'll let you out of your letter. That's what I would do. All right. I guess there's that also idea. Well, why don't you try it for a year and see what it is? And if you don't like it, then you can leave. There's that idea too. So I think Napier nailed the press conference. You guys let me know what you guys thought. Not surprisingly, we did not hear from them today, but we'll keep on trying. We'll see. All right. It is kind of important, kind of odd, but he's there. He's going to be there for the next week and a half. So he's got a little bit of time before the holidays and before he's out there recruiting. So we'll see if we can get him here over the next 10 days or so. That'd be pretty sweet to get him on here. All right. They are still arguing over the Power 4 and G5. It's crazy. We'll talk about it next. We'll do that right after I tell you about Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame. It can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos, endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. Add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's open. Packaging comes gift ready. No price tag, no wrapping needed. Huge win. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used, not forgotten in a drawer. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling carve and mat frames. Named number 1 by Wirecutter by using promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code COLLEGE. The deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right. It doesn't seem to end with this G5 and P4 thing. And I'm relatively careful on who I reply to. Although I will say most of it has been pretty good back and forth. The people who don't tell you who their names are, and even some who do. But I don't need to I don't need to be calling names or anything else, right? Certainly don't need to be rude or vulgar. All right. But I will say the one that seems to be getting a little traction today, at least the one that's everyone is replying to. All right. So I don't know who Adam Breneman is. I will tell you, Talking Ball and Building Brands host Next Up with Adam, co-founder, college sports company, football analyst, CBS Sports, All-American tight end. All right. Adam Breneman. Okay. I probably should look that up. Seems to have a familiar name. All right. I have a thought about it, and I'm all in on a Group 6 playoff. 16 teams, 6 conference champs, 6 runners-up get auto bids for the American, Mountain West, Pac-12, Conference USA, Sunbelt, and MAC. Maybe Americans gets 3 to 4 auto bids. Yeah, that'll go over well. 4 are large team bids. Seed them 1 through 16, play the first 2 rounds on campus, then semifinals and the title game at neutral sites. 4 weeks, every league has a path, and we crown a true G6 national champ. Then no G6 in the actual college football playoff. Yeah. So I replied, appreciate the thought. Here's the difference. No one is going to care about a G5, G6 playoffs. JMU football and Green Wave football are going to get more exposure over the 2 weeks before their game than any G5 championship would bring them. And God forbid either one of them actually wins. And so far that has gone a little viral. Not as much viral as my little Bob Chesney video about him staying to coach, but a little viral for me. And that's the thing. All right. I'm going back and forth with somebody claiming that I think that they belong on the field with Georgia. Well, you know who else didn't belong on the field with Georgia? TCU. Right? I mean, what's the difference? Here's my thing. What's the difference? Who gets blown out? That's what I don't understand. Oregon got blown out last year. It was 34-0 Ohio State when the Buckeyes called off the Dogs, and the final score was 41-21. 34-0. All right. When I said Georgia beat TCU, you know what happened earlier in that? Alabama, well, maybe it was different years, but Alabama beat Cincinnati 26-7. Georgia hammers TCU 65-7. One team didn't get blown out. One team did. Or one team got more blown out than the other. I don't know. What do we consider blowouts? Like more than 14 points? Which is odd because what if you just counted touchdowns as like 2 points and field goals as 1? You know, that scores get out of whack because we give them 6 points. Nonetheless. And it is getting frustrating because no one on the G5 team is telling you that Tulane or JMU are as good as Ohio State or even Texas Tech. All right. They just want a seat at the table. Some people are pissed. And again, you think people are going nuts over Notre Dame or more along the lines of Notre Dame going nuts over Notre Dame. And I saw the Le Batard show and some kids doing a podcast and there was a noise. if Alabama had been left out, Paul Feinbaum would have been doing that noise. Greg Sankey would have been doing that noise. Kirk Herbstreit would have been doing that noise. All right. If Alabama had been left out. All right. And I'm hearing national people starting to talk about it. It's because Greg Sankey and the SEC have a lot more pull than Notre Dame, apparently. So that's a whole different story. But they just want a seat at the table. That's all we want. No one's sitting here telling you that Tulane or JMU are going to win the national championship. Would be great if they did, but it's probably not going to happen. All right. Let's see if Miami wins the national championship. All right. The only way Texas Tech is in this situation is because you have a couple of billionaires giving them money. Do we honestly think, let's be honest here. Do we really think Joey McGuire is some savant head football coach? Obviously, he's pretty good, but he's getting a lot of money. Okay. Also, who also got a lot of money last year? Ryan Day won a national championship. Got a lot of money and played in the semifinals, right? Texas, although not this year. Got a lot of money, didn't make it. Ole Miss, they got a lot of money, and that's the biggest of all differences, is that these Power 4 schools got the alumni to give a lot of cash. Although I did see Troy Aikman saying, I'm done with the NIL. I gave money to a player, and he didn't stick around. So I don't know if that player was supposed to stick around for 4 years or 5 years, but the player took the money, played, and left because he got more money. And as I read, maybe Pro Football Talk, just like Troy Aikman did when he left Fox for ESPN, he got more money. Whoops. But it is getting funny a little bit. First of all, they're very upset about it. David Pollack is apoplectic about Notre Dame not being in, and not one, but two G5 teams. All right. Again, this is the ACC's fault. And it turns out to be expansion's fault. That's the problem. Ironically, the conference with the two divisions has the best tiebreakers. And the ACC doesn't. Because if you can explain to me why Duke was playing in that championship and not Miami, feel free. Not to mention how NC State and Virginia play a game, but it doesn't count as, an ACC game. I don't understand that. That was Virginia and NC State, wasn't it? Something like that. Anyways, it was somebody in that. It was Virginia. I thought it was Virginia and NC State. Anyways, people are still arguing over this. They should be arguing amongst themselves is really what it is. All right. I don't know if you want to say JMU got in through the back door, but everybody knew what was going to happen. Duke beats Virginia. JMU's in. All right. Now, I didn't really believe it until I saw it, but for one time, the big guy did not screw over the little guy. All right. And Tulane is in it because they're Power 5 champion of the top 5 conference. Now, what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. And it doesn't, take a super genius to figure this out. They're going to limit it to the top 4 conferences. And you're going to have to be top 15 to make it, period. I don't know if you can make it top 12, but they're going to make it top 15 or top 20. You're going to have to be ranked probably top 15, just to give a little leeway. You're going to have to be top 15 to make it. And if you're North Texas or the Cajuns or Tulane or JMU and you're not top 15, we're going to give your spot away. That's what's going to happen. Whether a G5 team makes it or not. That's what's probably going to happen. And if, God forbid, one of these teams win it, those rules will go into effect immediately. We got people like Ryan Clark out there telling, boy, those G5 schools better compete. You compete, that's one thing, and it's a good showing, and everyone can be proud. You beat them, and the rules are going to change faster than they would the other way. We don't want that. We definitely don't want that, because I am really interested to see on how I guess I have time between now and then. I have a couple of days off next week. Can I go back and watch the original Ole Miss Tulane game? And then what can I see is the difference? And it just got announced. Pete Golding apparently needs a lot of help. I don't know if these are former coaches. I probably are. But he's got LSU coaches coming to helping out because Pete Golding needs help. I'm just saying that. If you had me, John Summerall versus Pete Golding, I'm going to take John Summerall. Yeah, he's a better head coach. Doesn't mean he's going to win, but he's the better head coach. He's been a head coach, and this is Pete Golding's first time as a head coach. There's that. All right, let's take a time out. Let's talk a little Sun Belt basketball. We went through some injuries yesterday and some standings. Let's check out what's happened this week and start to look ahead to what's going to happen this weekend, because although football is going to start happening early next week, so we have that besides the playoff at the end. The bowls will start early next week. All right, so let's talk a little Sun Belt basketball when we come back, right after I tell you about FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum, every swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as the guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. All right. JMU and Oregon have gone back up to 21.5. Opened up at 21.5, immediately went down to 20.5, back up to 21.5. Take that for what it's worth. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. Again, a special thanks for everybody. People tuned into the live broadcast we did again. Sorry about the microphone situation. Trying to figure that one out. I don't know if I can bring it into work or somebody can fix it, but that seems like a lot of trouble. But we are growing. We're probably going to be, hopefully by the end of the month, 2,800. It's not 3,000, but it's 2,800. That's not quite 1,000 this year, but that's pretty good. I think we're at 1,900 beginning of the year. We're going to be close. We'll be over 3,000 by the time baseball season starts. So, and again, who knows what the Southern Miss reaction is going to be to whoever their head coach is. All right. So still lots to do, and really not that long until baseball season starts. What do we got? 2 months? That's about it. Now there's a lot going on in between now and then. College football playoff, Christmas, New Year's. So there's a lot going on. College football playoff in its entirety, NFL playoffs start getting light out longer. So there's a lot going on between now and then, but not too long before baseball season comes. So we'll be leaning into that in a big way. All right, basketball. I did see we did have some basketball games tonight and Thursday. Marshall hosting Western Kentucky. Marshall 5-4, Western Kentucky 6-2. Marshall is coming off, I believe, an incredibly tough loss. Let's see here. Actually, they lost to Ohio. Excuse me. That's not a great loss. Ohio is 3-6, and that's after the win. They lost 88-81. The tough loss was against UNC Wilmington, who only had one loss at the time and 7-0 at home. And our guy, Russ Livingood, said, like, Wilmington didn't score a bucket for the last, 7.5 minutes or something like that. All their points came from the free throw line. Guess how that happened? So a tough loss in that case for Marshall. And they do play, I will say, in an odd-shaped arena, campus-ish, downtown-ish, I think, area. Yeah, it's just a little bit of an odd arena. I was told, shocker, politics had a lot to do with how the arena really never got finished, and now they're sort of stuck with it. Got kind of tough to start over, but that's where we are. And so they are playing Western Kentucky tonight. So we'll see how they do with that one. Also coming up tonight, Texas State is hosting Southern. Texas State 6-5, 6-0 at home, by the way, and that's where they're playing. They're playing in San Marcos to take on Southern. All right. I guess that was Wednesday night. Sorry, that was last night. So tonight you do have Georgia Southern taking on Coastal Georgia, and East Carolina hosting App State. All right. Everybody is off on Friday, and then you do have a full slate on Saturday. Monroe taking on the Hurricanes. That's big. Old Dominion is at George Mason. George Mason off to a good start, 9-1. Let's see here. Georgia State hosting Jacksonville State. Southern Miss is at Ole Miss. Big opportunity there. Louisiana Tech hosting the Cajuns. It's going to be a long season for Louisiana. Arkansas State is at Rice. Marshall hosting Rice State. West Georgia hosting Georgia Southern. And Grand Canyon is hosting Coastal Carolina. And then on Sunday, South Alabama taking on North Texas. North Texas 7-3, but they're 0-2 on the road, and they are playing in Mobile. App State is at High Point, and Troy and UAB are playing each other. So a nice ball game there. That's in Birmingham in Central Alabama. The Sun Belt schedule starts on Wednesday. So it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The question is here, do we have any? So we got Monroe's taking on South Alabama. This is a week from yesterday, technically. That's in Monroe. James Madison, it is at ODU, and Texas State hosting Arkansas State. Then you got the Thursday, Coastal Carolina at App, Georgia State at Georgia Southern, Louisiana at Southern Miss. But then on Saturday, you're going to have a full slate, and these teams play. So Texas State and South Alabama both played on Wednesday. All right. That'd be tough if someone's got an extra day off, right? Coastal Carolina and Old Dominion, are they both playing on Thursday? Let me see. What did I say? Old Dominion and Coastal Carolina. I think they're both playing on. Oh, no. Old Dominion is playing on Wednesday. Coastal Carolina is playing on Thursday. Interesting. So someone's going to have a little bit more of a advantage there. But, I mean, that's where we are. I mean, let me see when JMU's playing. Let's see here. James Madison is playing at Georgia Southern, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Football game kicks off. I say 7:30 Eastern time, but it's probably going to be closer to 7:45. Let's be honest. And we will absolutely stay up for a quick. Maybe I'll go live. It's not the worst of all ideas. Although if I go live, then that's an extra half an hour of not getting to bed. Would be the problem with that one. Because you definitely have to have an episode. Although we could just make the live episode. Can you make that? I don't know if I can make the live episode the recap, because that's what the recap's going to be. It's a bonus episode. I doubt we're going to be talking much basketball following a JMU playoff game. So, all right. So that's where we are. I think Napier nailed it, and I'm having a lot of fun. You can follow me at Twitter, SchultzCast, arguing, going back and forth. Again, most people are keeping it clean. Some are wise asses. But we try to have fun at their expense without being too rude. Tough to come up with that sarcastic font for Twitter/X, but they are still arguing in a deep way about the G5 and the P4. All right. As if it matters on if Oregon blows out JMU or Oklahoma blows out Alabama. You know, what happens if it's another 28-7 ball game and they rush for 3 yards? Everyone's going to say, like, Alabama didn't deserve to be there. Same as JMU getting beat 45-10 or whatever the case may be. And let's see if John Summerall and Tulane can pull one off. All right. We're looking at that one as well. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody. All right. We continue to grow. And people are noticing it. And even, we're getting UCLA fans in now. We're getting Oregon fans in now. Appreciate all the comments. I am the one who is responding to the comments. So I do appreciate that. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll be back with one more episode on Friday.